Africa Science Dialogue, closing the gap between science and society.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Africa Science Dialogue. And today we are privileged to have Daniel Mukubi Kikuni from DRC, Democratic Republic of the Congo. And Daniel is a distinguished expert in biodiversity management and sustainable forest and environmental governance. He serves as the head of division in the Directorate of Sustainable Development at the Ministry of Environment and Sustainable Development. That is a huge title. And he contributes to national and international policy processes. He is a member of the International Union for the Conservation of Nature Green List Expert Assessment Group, where he supports global standards for protected and conserved areas. Wow, that's a noble call. And with extensive experience in the Convention of Biological Diversity negotiations, Mr. Mukubi brings strategic insights into African priorities on access and benefit sharing. That's an important topic, and we'll be delving into that. Digital sequence information and the road to Armenia, COP17. So, ladies and gentlemen, just for context, the Convention on Biological Diversity, which we will be referring to as the CBD, is a multilateral environmental agreement adopted in 1992 with three core objectives. Number one, conservation of biological diversity. Two, sustainable use of its components. And three, fair and equitable sharing of benefits emanating from utilization of genetic resources. Now, its implementation is guided through periodic meetings that we are calling COPs, Conference of the Parties, where governments negotiate decisions that shape global biodiversity governance. Now, the upcoming 17th meeting, Conference of the Parties, number 17, will be in Armenia, and it represents a critical milestone for advancing discussions on topics we'll be discussing today: digital sequence information, access and benefit sharing under the Nagoya Protocol, and the operationalization of the Kunming-Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework. So today is gonna be packed with very, very interesting stuff. So Daniel, welcome to the Africa Science Dialogue.
Thank you very much.
Fantastic. Now, who is Daniel? Let's start there.
You have already talked about me. Yes, you have said that I'm Daniel Mukubi Kikuni. I'm from the Democratic Republic of Congo, working for the Ministry of Environment, Sustainable Development, and New Climate Economy. I also serve as a national focal point for sustainable wildlife management, and also national focal point of the intergovernmental platform Science Policy on Biodiversity and Ecosystem Services.
Fantastic, that's great. Were you in COP16 in Cali?
Yes, I was in COP16 in Cali, negotiating for Africa and for the Democratic Republic of Congo, and defending positions that are interesting for Africa.
Fantastic. Now, with that CBD memory from COP16 in Cali, and now heading into COP17 in Armenia, what do you consider the most strategic priorities for African countries under the CBD and its protocols?
Now for Africa, under the CBD and its protocols, I think that now from the COP16, which was held in Cali, in Colombia, now we are in our roads to Yerevan. It will be in Armenia on October this year, 2026. We need, as Africa, to focus on mainly three things. First of all is resource mobilization and financial mechanism for biodiversity. Second is how to deal with the operationalization of the digital sequence information on genetic resources, what we call DSI. And then the third thing that Africa should insist on is the practicability and operationalization on the ground of the Nagoya Protocol. Yeah.
Fantastic, and I'm glad that you have immediately introduced DSI and access and benefit sharing, because that actually now leads to my next question. And my question to you is, how would you, as an expert and a negotiator for DRC and Africa, how would you assess Africa's level of coordination and coherence in articulating a common position on DSI and ABS in the current negotiation cycle as we move from Cali to Yerevan?
Okay, now we are very, very proud of the organization of Africa now in negotiations, because now we have what we call AGN, African Group of Negotiators. And this African Group of Negotiators is a very, very important framework that put together negotiators from Africa in order to be able to clearly make common position and talk as one man in one voice, so that the African voice can be taken into account while discussing. So we have sub-regional groups. So in Africa we have 5 sub-regional regions, I would like to say. We have Eastern Africa, Western Africa, we have North Africa, Central Africa, and then Southern Africa. And in each sub-region, there are common issues and common positions. So discussion starts, first of all, at the country level, and the national priorities are brought at the sub-regional level. And in the sub-regional level, when we meet in the context of African Group of Negotiators, then we bring sub-regional ideas in order to constitute a common position for Africa, so that Africa can speak in one voice. So this is very, very interesting, because now when we are organized to prepare such a meeting, we choose lead countries for each topic which is very important for Africa, and we have also support countries to ensure that our voice is clear and loud.
Wow, that's amazing. You seem very, very organized, yeah?
Yeah.
You're calling it
African Group of Negotiators. AGN.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
That level of organization from country priorities, regional, and then Africa speaking as one voice.
Yeah.
Wow, that's what Africa Science Dialogue is all about. Giving our experts and science a common voice to voice our priorities and to make sure that our priorities at the international level, they are being listened to.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Now on to my next question. Still on this topic.
Yeah.
From a negotiator's perspective, now let's delve into understanding the dynamics in the political arena, because ABS and DSI are very political topics. Now, from a negotiator's perspective, what are the key political dynamics shaping the discussion on genetic resources as we move towards Armenia?
So now we have developed countries, which are what we call global north.
Global north, that's right.
Yeah. And they have technology. They have databases. So, and it means that they can access to genetic resources. They can have many applications and make money. They have companies, they have technology, and they benefit from the use of genetic resources. and they have databases with many information, even from Africa, and perhaps those information that we do not have. Some of them are associated to traditional knowledge from indigenous peoples and local communities. But these guys at the local level do not benefit from the use of genetic resources. And at the other side, you have Global South, which are developing countries, mainly holders of genetic resources, but without technology and without databases on digital sequence information. So here, political level needs that we have strong and fair dialogue, which will be frank, so that we can set up a system and a mechanism that we call multilateral mechanism for benefit, for access and benefit sharing of benefits from genetic resources and from digital sequence information arising from the use of genetic resources. And then this multilateral mechanism needs that we might have open access data and data sources, and so that we can be able in an equitable and transparent manner to make sure that benefits are fairly and equitably shared between developed countries which are making profit and which are users of digital sequence information and genetic resources, and Global South, which are the providers of the genetic resources and information from genetic resources. So that is why the COP17 made a decision COP16/2, which established a multilateral mechanism on fair and equitable sharing of benefits arising from the use of digital sequence information on genetic resources. And this mechanism, now we are discussing modalities of operationalization, and also the COP established a fund, that is what we call Cali Fund. And this Cali Fund is established to support mainly developing countries in conservation of biodiversity. So 50% of the money that will be mobilized through the Cali Fund will be directly go to indigenous peoples and local communities who are custodians of biodiversity and genetic resources.
Fantastic. And I am glad that you have brought that clear distinction between the global north and the global south, with the global north being majority users and the global south being majority providers of these resources. And also you brought about IPLCs. And you coming from DRC, which is a mega diverse country. I know this is a very important topic to you.
Good.
Now, what is the role in the context of DRC? What is the role of IPLC at negotiators' table at that level of CBD and other international negotiation with respect to genetic resources?
So, as you know, in the context and organization of the Conference of the Parties to the Convention on Biological Diversity, or what we are calling CBD here, we have parties and we have stakeholders. Parties are 196 countries that adopted the convention. And there are countries, 196 countries, which are currently parties to the Convention on Biological Diversity. And we have also stakeholders. So in main stakeholders, we have gender, we have youth, and we have IPLCs. So IPLCs mainly play a key role when it comes to genetic resources and access and benefit sharing, and also when it comes to biodiversity conservation in general. Because they are custodians of biodiversity, they depend on forests and its resources, and they have knowledge, what we call traditional knowledge, to conserve biodiversity and to sustainably use its components. So when discussing about ABS issues, genetic resources, or DSI, as they are stakeholders, it means that they don't have first voice, primary voice. For them to be understood, they must be supported by parties. That is why, for example, in DRC, we organized a coalition, a framework of consultation of organization accompanying indigenous peoples and local communities, and they have direct meetings with the government while preparing participation to the COP, and then their position is already included in the national position. And the national position will be brought to the sub-regional position, and the sub-regional position will go to the African position, and then the African position, while being raised, it already contains issues and other questions which are relevant for IPLCs. Yeah.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Good.
You really take care of your IPLCs and
Yes.
ensure that their voice is heard.
Yeah, because they play a key role in biodiversity conservation, and they are established in forests where biodiversity is rich, and also with their traditional lifestyle, they contribute too much to conserve biodiversity. So mainly you will see that we have national parks, we have areas with biodiversity which is intact, we can say, because of them. So we must recognize their efforts and their contribution to achieve national targets and global goals of biodiversity conservation.
Absolutely, well said. And I think then, ladies and gentlemen, it is fair to say that IPLCs are basically the custodians
Yes.
of this knowledge.
Yeah.
And given the fact that they coexist
Yeah.
with this biodiversity,
Yeah.
then it is fair to say that no one
Yeah.
amongst the stakeholders
Yeah.
knows about biodiversity more than the IPLCs.
Yeah, of course.
Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, that is it. And that there is also some scientific evidence from IUCN, for example, showing that their areas and their knowledge is better than what we have in the scientists' perspective and purposes.
Wow. So I am likely to get more information on, let's say, DRC biodiversity from IPLCs than from peer-reviewed publications.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, as it is.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for those insights. Now, just a little bit more on DSI so we can move on to the next topic. DSI governance,
Yeah.
across the parties to the CBD,
Yeah.
remains one of the most technically and politically sensitive issues, under the CBD.
Yeah.
So, what are the core points of contention between the parties? Why is it that the parties are never in agreement when it comes to the topic of DSI?
Yes, because as you know, we have factories, we have companies, and we have academia, we have also government. In former time, they were using genetic resources, they were using information and digital sequence information on genetic resources without contributing to the biodiversity conservation and without sharing benefits. So when it comes that developing countries are aware of that and start asking for fairness and justice, and also for transparency, you see, it is not easy, because to bring change, it is never easy, and everybody is not able to accept changes. So that is why, and also it is because of the global context now, economic crisis, okay, issues related to development and so on. So interests and priorities of global north is not the same as in global south. So it is the conflict of interests. That is why we are negotiating, so that we can reach some consensus, we can have some common grounds in order to be able to say that, okay, despite our divergences, we have common goals. We need to protect our next generation, future generation. We need to protect the earth. We need to conserve biodiversity. We need to fight against biodiversity loss, because otherwise we will not exist and we will disappear. And that is why this discussion is never easy. But because of the multilateralism, we are slowly opening our path, and we still be positive, and we think that also in COP17 we will advance, and we will make sure that the Caliphant and the DSI is operationalized, and everybody is taking benefit from it.
Fantastic. Well said.
Yeah.
Now, building on that word, multilateralism
Yeah.
in governance of DSI,
Yeah.
maybe we can delve a little bit deeper into what exactly it means. So, in the context of multilateralism,
Yeah.
what would constitute a fair and operationally workable DSI benefit sharing mechanism from the standpoint of African countries? So, from, let's say, I am Kenyan,
Yeah.
you are from DRC,
Yeah.
there's a Tanzanian somewhere,
Yeah.
there's a Ugandan somewhere, and so on and so forth. What does multilateralism in the context of DSI governance mean for each and every member of countries that we are calling ourselves providers of genetic resources, and DSI emanating from genetic resources?
So that is why the Caliphant was created under the multilateral mechanism.
Okay.
And this multilateral mechanism means that, okay, we know that Global South is provider of genetic resources, and we have this information, digital sequence information on genetic resources from them. And we are using this information and we are having benefit. So this multilateralism means that in Kenya, we have the lists of genetic resources from Kenya. Okay? And these genetic resources provide information that can be sequenced and developed in lab and provide application and products such as cosmetic.
That's right.
And so on.
And
medicinal.
pharmaceuticals.
Yeah. Agricultural applications. Okay? Food applications. And these are factories, companies using this information. For example, when we were in COVID, there was a vaccine developed. It was from DSI.
Yeah.
We used digital sequence information on genetic resources to produce that vaccine. So we need to know this genetic resources is from which country.
Okay.
Okay? If it is from this country, is from which part of that country? Which are the community holders of that genetic resource? And then where we are able to make sure that we know the origin of that genetic resource, so we will make sure that when we are sharing benefit, the holders of I will mean the origin of that resource, they will have a big part of sharing, because here is equitability. It means that they need to have according to their contribution to the benefit production.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Very well.
That is why we need to have open access databases, so we will see which information is used, it is on which genetic resources, and that genetic resources is from which countries. So the countries concerned will have a big part of that, and in those countries, a big part of the income will go to indigenous peoples and local communities, which are custodians of biodiversity and genetic resources.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Now, for that to work,
Yeah.
traceability is,
Yeah.
is
Very
is very
important.
key, eh?
Yeah.
And annotation of
Yes.
this DSI
Yeah,
elements.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is why we need open access data. And as you know, in science, this is not easy even for developed countries.
Yes.
They are not now able to make that information accessible and available. So that is the dialogue we are having, and that is the way where we are going and moving forward with this discussion and negotiation under the TBD when it comes to DSI.
Fantastic. So let me ask you a question from an expert perspective. Do you foresee a future where we have all these genome sequences, let's say, for instance, hypothetically speaking, in an NCBI somewhere, where they are open and they are available, and there is a traceability going all the way to the origin of each and those genetic elements?
Yes, it is possible because actually technology is very, very fast. But it will need time and also political will. That is why we started in current discussion, okay, list big companies and main sectors because we can't at the same time have information from every company or every sector of genetic resources or digital sequence information on genetic resources. So we now target biggest one where we can have datas, when we can have quick results, and then learning from that, we will extend now the scale of the application of DSI.
Fantastic. Now, my last question, so we can move on to something else on DSI. It's a very, very emotive topic. You don't want to stop. You want to continue talking about DSI, but we have to move on to other things. You're a negotiator.
Yeah.
So, what can you, or how can you and the other negotiators, like for instance in the your Africa network of negotiators, reconcile the need for open scientific collaboration with the demand for equity and justice in benefit sharing? From the background that the work, the science behind sequencing genomes is being done by different people, different groups.
Yeah.
Right? And each of these groups, they have their own databases.
Yeah.
Some are open.
Yeah.
Some are closed.
Yeah, yes, yeah.
So what is the role of you and the negotiators in harmonizing this?
Yes. That is why we are calling it negotiations. It means that we need to tell them that actually the world is not closed. It must be opened because threatened to biodiversity, biodiversity loss, climate change, and all these things affect everybody, but at different level.
Yes,
Some are more affected than others.
that's right.
And also, now we can say, from our perspective, that from now in Africa, we refuse access to genetic resources to other countries.
That would be catastrophic.
Yeah.
We don't want to do that.
We don't want to do that.
Yeah.
And if also they say that we will not make our database accessible. So if they are open, we will be open. It must be like a deal. Like a deal.
You make a deal.
Win-win. So that is why we are negotiating. So that if they are open, so we can also be open. If they are closed, I wonder we can also be closed. And then when we will see the consequences of our decisions, we will come back again to the table and start negotiations. So instead of having that, we are now having time to prepare, to arrange, to make dialogue. And this is Africa Science Dialogue.
That's right.
Yeah.
This is Africa Science Dialogue.
I think that this dialogue
Yes.
will help us to know consequences of our acts and our decisions so that we can avoid risks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely, because if we decide to go the direction of everybody closes, everybody
yeah.
stays with what they have,
Yeah.
then everybody loses.
Yes.
We need each other.
Yeah.
So really, I hope we take the right way of let us be open,
Yeah.
let us adopt multilateral mechanisms, and make sure there is equitable sharing
Yes.
of benefits.
That is it. That's
right,
what we want.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, one question for you, and this is in the African context. In practice, because you've been in this space for some time, where do African countries face the greatest challenges in implementing the Nagoya Protocol, particularly in translating legal provisions into developmental outcomes?
So, that is first due to, I think, two things. The first one is the national priority.
Okay.
And which needs political will at national level. Sometimes in Africa, and in particular in sub-Saharan Africa, we have many resources. We are very rich in biodiversity. And because of that, we seem to neglect some components of biodiversity. And sometimes we do not have legal and administrative framework to make sure that the Nagoya Protocol will be well implemented at the national level. And at the other side, we lack capacity. So we need to bring technical and scientific capacity so that we can be able, to undertake studies, to reframe legal aspects, and to make sure that we have rules, we have laws, and we have everything which will allow us to govern the implementation of the Nagoya Protocol. In some countries, we do not have what we call the list of our genetic resources.
Yes.
So how can we deal with companies and other users of genetic resources while we do not know what we have as genetic resources?
Wow.
That is the first thing. And it means that we must, first of all, ourselves support such studies at the national level so that we can have guides. We can have documents, guidance, and we have laws and governance tools to ensure that Nagoya Protocol will be implemented at the national level. We need arrangements because we need contracts between providers and users.
Yes.
So everything must be ready at the national level so that when users will come, they will meet a framework at the national level which is very, very well organized so that the access can be easy and then the benefit sharing is already established. Then it will be a fair and equitable benefit sharing. But because in Africa in general, some countries do not have this legal framework. And then others have that legal framework, but the implementation of it at the national level is problematic. So we need to combine having documents and implementing them at the national level. And when everything is good, so the mechanism of benefit sharing and access to genetic resources will be easy and operationalized.
Well said.
Yeah.
Very, very well said. Now, let's talk about negotiation a little bit.
Yeah.
Still in the context of ABS and DSI, in the negotiation rooms, like for instance, now we are heading into Armenia.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And those meetings go up to midnight.
Yes.
You've been there.
Yeah. Yeah.
In these negotiation rooms,
Yeah.
where do you observe convergence or divergence between developed and developing countries? And now, this is why we bring back the North and the South on ABS and DSI. Practically in the rooms, where are the divergences?
So, practically in the room, divergences are about capacity buildings, scientific cooperation, and technology transfer.
Okay.
These are the needs of Global South.
Capacity building,
scientific cooperation, and technology transfer. Okay. This is what we can have from the Global North.
Okay.
And from our side, we have resources.
Yes.
Biological resources, genetic resources, and so on. And when it comes, for example, to share or to transfer technology, they say, oh, this is voluntary. And it must be dealt at a voluntary perspective. It means that if I don't want to transfer you technology, I will not do it.
You're not obliged. There is no obligation.
no obligation.
Okay.
But when it comes to conservation, it seems to be an obligation. So we think that it is not a balanced manner of seeing things. And that we can understand. But also when it comes to financial mechanism or resource mobilization, you see, in Africa, we made all our effort and we're still making our effort to conserve biodiversity. So that we can contribute to the well-being of the whole planet.
That is true.
But in North, they used their resources to develop themselves. It means that when we are conserving, we are delaying our development progress. So we can't continue conserving without having something as counterpart. So we need compensation. That is why we say that if we see that we can't access technology, we can't access capacities, and we can't access financial means, so we will start using our resources to have all those things. And using our resources means that we are contributing to the pollution and climate change. Is that what we want? No. If no, so we need to have compensation.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very, very well said.
Yeah.
Now, we are going into our last topic for today.
Yeah.
And this is the Kunming Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework. I want to just get a little bit of where you stand on this as a negotiator. Now, GBF calls for conservation,
Yeah.
sustainable use,
Yeah.
and equitable benefit sharing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So how do negotiations on DSI and ABS intersect with the implementation of GBF?
Yes. Of course, because you will realize that the Kunming-Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework, to adopt it, we made more than 4 years.
That's right.
That and initially we were expected to finish discussion after 2 years. So discussion went long and long, generally because of also DSI.
Okay.
And that is why, as Africa, we say that when we will adopt the Kunming-Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework, we must ensure that we have its implementation measures adopted together. And within implementation measures of the Kunming-Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework, we have DSI.
Yes.
Okay? We have capacity building. We have also resource mobilization and so on. We have 6 tools to facilitate the implementation of the Kunming-Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework. Among these 6 tools, we have DSI.
That's right.
So, the Kunming-Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework has 4 objectives and 23 targets. Okay?
Yeah.
So, the objective C of the Kunming-Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework is related to benefit sharing
Yes.
and DSI. That is why DSI is in goal C of the Kunming-Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework, because we think that, and it is normal, DSI will contribute to the implementation of the Kunming-Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework, and then to the achievement of the goals and objectives of that framework. And also, in target 13, okay, it is about Nagoya Protocol, implementation of the Nagoya Protocol, target 13 of the Kunming-Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework. Because in this target 13, we acknowledge that indigenous people and the local communities, again, play a key role in biodiversity conservation and sustainable use of biodiversity. Unless they remain poor and without enough resources. That is why we need to use DSI to share with them benefits so that they can release their level of livelihoods, incomes, revenues, and so on, so that they can be able to enforce their lifestyle. And they can be able also to contribute again and again to the biodiversity conservation.
Fantastic.
And then I think that it is very, very important to note that now we are pushing on the full implementation of the Nagoya Protocol and operationalization of DSI, because if this is turned into reality, so the Kunming-Montreal Global Biodiversity will be benefiting from that.
Thank you very much, Daniel. And this topic would go on and on and on and on, but we are running out of time.
Yeah.
So I'm going to quickly ask you to respond to my very, very, very last question. Yeah. And I would like also this to be your parting shot. Yeah.
Yeah.
To our audience.
Yes.
And my question is, we're going to Armenia for
Yeah.
COP17.
Yeah.
Now, if COP17 were to deliver one transformative outcome for Africa
Yeah.
in the governance of genetic resources,
Yeah.
linking DSI, ABS,
Yeah.
and biodiversity objectives, what should that outcome be? So make that your parting shot.
Okay. Thank you.
It's not a difficult one, is it?
Yeah, it is a little bit difficult, but yeah, I think that this should be an agreement on what is the mechanism that ensure that there is transparency, there is fairness and equitability in sharing benefit from digital sequence information on genetic resources. It means that the multilateral mechanism is there, the Cali Fund is there, money is coming in the Cali Fund, we have a disbursement institution which is credible and which will disburse these funds mobilized through the Cali funds to countries who deserve and who contribute to global biodiversity conservation and to genetic resources. That will be a very good outcome of Armenia. And we hope that in Armenia, we will make sure that the multilateral mechanism is operational, the Cali Fund is mobilizing enough money, the disbursement institution is clearly defined, and then the modalities of access to the Cali Fund are flexible and take into account needs, capacities, realities of indigenous peoples and local communities.
Fantastic. I could not agree more. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. That is all the time we have today. So thank you very much, Daniel, for coming to Africa Science Dialogue, for sharing your expertise and your insights. And we are looking forward to, building the momentum on these topics as we gear into Armenia. So thank you so much for your time, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget to tune in for the next podcast under the Africa Science Dialogue. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Have a nice one.
Thank you very much.
Africa Science Dialogue, closing the gap between science and society.